You know, I have a bias for stencils, and that's because I just think they don't get enough respect. They are highly, highly versatile tools.
They are.
Yeah.
There's lots of different ways to use them. We have 4 new stencils to show you today, and 2 of them are sneak previews.
Ooh, sounds great. Come play with us. Well, here they are.
Ta-da!
These are the 2 that came out earlier this year,
Okay.
and these 2 actually shouldn't be out until later this month, but we're giving them
Aren't
to you
you
early.
lucky? Here they are. What I love about these, as you look at all 4 of them at once, as the totally different designs you're going to get, and overall with very intricate pattern, you're going to get this large open space on that one, the Zen tangle, and then you've got just beautiful flowers with words.
Right. Now these are all plastic, and of course, because they're hot off the press, you know that it's going to come with ideas on the back, and we're going to show you those.
They're each of them 6 inches by 6 inches.
And that's the outside measurement. And Jamie from Crafters Workshop manufactures these for us. We design them and send them over, and she takes care of that for us. So they're all in the USA. So that's nice.
So I think we're going to start with Zen Leaves.
Okay.
This 6 inch by 6 inch stencil. It's got this large cluster of leaves in the center, and then it's got 2 separate smaller leaves too, and here's something you can do with that.
Well, one of the first things with stencils is you can use them this way or you can turn them over, and that's what Gail did on this card, and I love this card. I think it is just stunning.
Well, sometimes simple black and white really shows off the unique detail of something, and that's why I chose this. I didn't want you looking at anywhere but at those beautiful leaves. The design on that is just gorgeous. I started out with glossy black embossing paste. I put that directly onto white cardstock. So
that's what the glossy looks like.
Lots in there to use. And you go over the entire design, you lift it up after it's dry, then you can just go around the edges, and I just did that freehand doing a stitch technique with a black pen.
Just that pen work. And it was using the precision pen, so any fine tip pen will work.
Oh, that's a great one though. That's just the
like
perfect
that?
size. I do. It's a great pen. And then you just make tiny little lines and just go all the way around. When you go around the edges, you want to use a ruler so you get a nice straight edge.
And as we get in closer, just to really, don't be intimidated by thinking that you have to make perfect lines. Now, even Gail, you know, as good as Gail is, look at that. She did a little blip it. So it's perfectly fine. A little blip it.
Blip it and bubbles, and it all works out. When you back up, you can barely see it.
Yeah. So now we'll back up. Stop showing your imperfections.
No, it's
but
all right.
I just, you know, I don't want you to be intimidated by, oh, I've got to be perfect and it's got to be exact. You can fudge a bit. It's okay.
And what if you didn't put the stitches on there? What if you left it without and just did that? The stencil itself sort of speaks for itself.
Well, and that that black glossy embossing paste is just stunning.
Perfect. Goes great with the inside out greetings dazzles.
Right, there we are.
I love the 3 different finishes with that one. The black went well with this card, and so fun.
Just stunning. Now for a very different look at this. Just stunning. Now this is with our flitter glue and our Mega Flakes.
Right. This is Mega Flakes Lancashire Rose, so it's got some great colors in there. Little copper, little gold, little red.
And you know, I just learned something about the Mega Flakes and the Gilding Flakes is that they all start out one color, and as they're exposed to heat, that's what changes them into the different colors.
Is that right?
Yeah, so they're done in sheets.
I never knew that.
I didn't either. Exposed to the color, and then they're torn apart to turn them into flakes. So just gorgeous.
Well, this is a fun process of adding that. Let's see, bring the card back in. I want to make sure. So I'm going to orient it the correct way. There we go. So we're going to do that way. Okay. And I've got the flitter glue here. You just open that up. I'm going to put some of the flitter glue off to the side. Something that I learned recently that I didn't really know, but apparently everybody else on the design team knew this but me. I'll
Have they
tell
been
you.
withholding information from you?
Apparently, I haven't been listening. So this once you've
You're
got
just
this
going
on
to
your,
do a little piece?
okay, that's a good idea. I'll just do the little leaf. Anyway, I'll tell you in just a second what I learned. But first, I'm going to get that glue. I've got my cosmetic wedge and get it out there, just a little bit on there, and you just start pouncing it up and down to get nice even coverage all the way across. I don't want huge blobs on there. I just want a nice smooth coverage. Now this is what I learned about the glue. You don't want to put the Mega Flakes on there immediately. We can do it, it'll work. But the trick is, if you let it sit just a little bit, it dries just enough but stays tacky for quite a while.
Boy, that's counterintuitive. You would
It
think,
is.
oh, I've got to use it right away.
I've got to do that right now.
Yeah.
So if you do that, then it will stay tacky, but it won't be kind of gooey.
Okay.
And that's something that I learned. I'm going to go ahead and use it because it does work this way. It's just kind of more effective the other way. Put some of those beautiful Mega Flakes, get some different colors, scoot them around. I always like to use my finger first and get them sort of pressed in place before I grab the scoochy sponge and start removing it. And just lightly,
very lightly,
lightly in circles. And I kind of, do you notice how I went like this and then I reversed it? It's because you've got a little bit of that on both of those edges, and you want to get, you want to make sure you're getting it off of all of the edges because you want the detail.
Now, isn't that easy and isn't that gorgeous?
And
just stunning.
It is absolutely beautiful.
Now,
I pick it up and you can just see that it just shines.
It's beautiful.
Beautiful.
Now, all of these bits and pieces, even those teeny tiny little ones, put them back in the container because they will all work. You can continue to use those.
Even the powdery stuff down at the bottom still makes a nice, beautiful, glimmering look.
So this is just on black cardstock, as you said. We added some dazzles. We can't remember which one. This is one of the scrapbooking dazzles, but it's in the gallery. And we did the gold ripple, a holographic paper, and the glitter ribbon. So it's
Isn't that
stunning.
gorgeous?
Absolutely
It is stunning.
It's also good for lots of reasons. So you could have this as a masculine birthday, feminine birthday.
And I want to note that that's kind of a one-layer card.
Yeah,
you don't have a lot of things stacking all over. You've just got that large image, and that's all you need. It makes the statement.
Okay, now we're going to go to the lace, and the lace was again, as you noted, a very large, very intricate spaced, and you can do it simply as this was done by using the ink and just having your stencil down and just pressing the ink through it with a cosmetic sponge or the ink blending tool.
I like that it was done across both panels of this gatefold
fun.
Card because it's just, you see it go all the way across. There's a little bit of stickles done, as you see, just a little sparkle.
And what I would think with something called lace, I would think, oh, okay, feminine cards. But how fun to see this with the chalkboard look.
Sure.
And that's interesting. And then to separate it, which I think is brilliant.
That's great. And in that case, all you're going to do is take your stencil and lay it down on the bottom and ink through that with a cosmetic wedge and that ink, and then up at the top as well.
Yeah,
so
just
beautiful.
easy peasy.
It's like it's folded over the edges there. That's a great look.
Now for yet a very different look. Look at this.
Beautiful.
Isn't that pretty? Now that is also easily done with what you have.
The Cosmic Shimmer Sparkle Texture Paste, and this one is in gold.
Right.
So I've got it here. I'm going to open that up to show you. So it's basically a translucent paste that's got this glitter in it, so you can really see the glitter.
Look at that.
Isn't that beautiful? It looks a little less shiny here than when it dries. When it dries, you can really see that it picks up. It's because that cloudiness of the embossing paste goes away.
Now I have to tell you, Cosmic Shimmer is a brand out of England, and Lizanne is the owner, and she and I have been doing a lot of emailing back and forth lately, and we're going to be carrying more of their products.
Yay.
But you can see that there's in red, there's a whole bunch of different colors that we carry.
Great. They've got all kinds of great products.
They
Wonderful.
do.
So we have the texture paste. I have this palette knife, a nice, easy to use palette knife. You just take up a little bit of it. I just want to show you a little bit of what it looks like once you put it on. You just make sure that you're pressing right down onto the stencil so that you can still see that stencil when you're done. And really, you only want it to be in the holes, going through the holes of that stencil. And then when you pick it up,
wow,
it looks like that.
Look at that.
And that's what you get with a fine, intricate stencil. You get a lot of detail and very simply.
And don't touch it until it's dry, Paulette. Don't do that, Paulette.
Don't touch. It's trying to dry.
So what we've done on the card is just cut around the outside edge and cut a little bit away from the design so you've got a mat. But what a beautiful focal on your card. And then you can add your message on the front.
Right.
We've done that with Dazzles onto a ribbon. A ribbon. I think that's really fun, that 1.5 inch wide crepe ribbon.
A little bit of inking on those paper wildflowers helps it to match the card perfectly, and that's just a fantastic look. So you don't have to use that entire doily or lace piece. It's stencil. It's not going to fit entirely on your card.
Oh, because it's so wide.
Right. So you can use pieces of it, like we saw on the other card, at the top and at the bottom.
And at the bottom, just like you said, doing it this way.
Okay, so when you go back to the front, the stencil went off the edge. She cut off the edge.
Right, so this
turn it.
right.
There you go.
Okay.
She cut off just that little edge.
And didn't want to throw it away.
Didn't want to throw it away because it was so pretty, and then put it on the inside. Perfect.
Isn't that gorgeous?
Absolutely.
And how nice that the holographic paper really picks up all of the shine that you're getting.
The gold sparkle holographic paper.
Yeah, it looks like that. And
it's just a tiny little bit around the edges. It's just beautiful.
And that's all you need.
On steampunk paper. That's steampunk, people.
Now you can put them together. How about that?
Oh, I do love this. And I know
pretty?
I made it, but I love the, I can't help it. It's the purple because I like purple. And those leaves are just, they're graceful. Just cut out pieces of that. So on the Zen, let's see, on the Zen leaf stencil, you've got individual, I'm going to point down here, individual leaves that you can do, and then you have just a part of it. You put that on a separate piece of paper. You use glossy white embossing paste and cut it out and place that over that lace stencil.
Now this is also the same glossy white embossing paste used with the lace, obviously, onto a purple paper.
Right.
So
it's done directly on the patterned paper, and then afterwards it's cut out right along, just along the just a little bit, like a 1/16 of an inch or an 1/8 inch outside of that embossing paste, and then you place that right on your card and cut your card.
So it becomes a card flap, right? And this is using the watercolor paper, so you could wildflowers, right? Yeah. You can bring some of the artwork in like that. So
again, with the inside outside greetings dazzles. It's a perfect addition.
I think it's fun to play with them together.
It is.
Okay, now we're going to go to Bunch O' Daisies, and we titled that because it's got a thanks a bunch, if you want to use that, as well as the little butterfly. Now,
so it's nice to have a stencil with words. You can add that right along there.
And look at this. Now this surprised me because it is using or it's been done onto the black suede paper.
Black suede. Right, that was a little surprising for me too.
Yeah, and what I like about it is that black suede paper, you can touch it and you can pet it and all of that, but it also is such a saturated black that look how that silver and orange and copper and green just pops against it.
They do. I'm going to need to borrow that stencil from you.
Okay.
So we're going to
because we only have one at this moment. Is that why?
We only have one in front of me at the moment, and we don't want to be running around trying to find it while we're doing this. So here we are. I'm going to put that flower right there. I'm just going to do one of those flowers. I've got the white embossing paste, and I've got my palette knife, and I'm start with just a thin layer of that. So right onto that suede. It seems strange because suede is like it's like material. And it seems like a strange thing to do. But as long as you keep it even with the top of the stencil, then you know you have a thick enough layer.
And it doesn't take much, and you do want to remove it just like Gail's going to.
Just
so
like that.
You don't want to let it dry,
So,
you want to remove it.
Right, before you remove it. Now, once it's like this, you can leave it like that and have a beautiful white daisy, or before it's dry, you get out your silk microfine glitter. This is the orange, and again, this is something that Debbie likes to do, to just get those little detail areas. This is great because I've got, well, that works too. I'm gonna just sort of tap it.
What she said that works too is because I slid a paintbrush over next to her, so that's what she was talking about.
The paintbrush will work too. I can show you. You can dump it on there like so, or you can use a paintbrush and apply it just right where you want it. I guess that's a better way of doing it. I'm always afraid I'm gonna hurt that embossing paste, but it's actually pretty stiff. So just stay on top of it. Don't move it around. Don't be moving around in circles or you're going to move the embossing paste around.
Right.
So there, now you've got it just on the center, and then you can come back in with that antique silver and a different brush. And you can, well, really technically at this point you can sprinkle it across the whole thing, but I kind of like,
do that?
I like the
Go
idea.
ahead, sprinkle it.
Okay, I'm going to sprinkle it. And then afterwards you can get it off of the suede after it dries. So you can do that, you can get it all over it, and then shake it off. Most of it comes off once it's dry.
Yeah.
You can really go in, and you can use lint roller or something like that to remove the extra around her, or you use a brush and really brush it off really well.
You know, I'm surprised at how pretty that silver is on it. I mean, that's just a beautiful look.
That's antique silver too. It's got
gorgeous.
kind of a grayish look to it. It's just beautiful.
So she has done green, and you can see also that, was it copper or orange?
It's orange on the
thanks.
centers. Yeah, orange on the thanks.
So just
beautiful.
a really, really striking card again, and that's what I think we're seeing is just the variety and how striking they can be now for a very different look. And that's what I appreciate, is you can do so many different things. I also love on this card, I don't think I've seen this certainly recently, I'm sure in my life I've seen it, but taking one element and doing that separately and popping it up, and doing it
focal,
slightly differently.
A little
It doesn't
differently.
have the pen work.
Right, so in the background it's done on the pattern paper, so you've got the dots all over it, so it sort of melds into the background, plus there's some pen work done afterwards, traced around the whole piece.
Using the stencil just to trace
But then
it.
just for the focal and for the thanks at the bottom you were showing, you just do that piece on white cardstock and then cut it out and lay it right on top, and it's just beautiful. These are done with distress inks, so I used the Tim Holtz mini distress ink pads, the sets that have those coordinating colors.
And the blending tool, I bet.
No, I didn't.
You didn't?
I used a sponge, a
Did
cosmetic
you?
wedge.
Okay.
Very simple. So I pounced it first with yellow right in the center very well, and then just came around on the edge. The blending tools work really great too. Actually, the art daubers would be great for this too.
Yes, lots of options. On the inside, just doing it directly onto the card.
Directly
I love
onto the
that
cardstock,
look.
and just a little bit of more of a pale look. Don't make it too dark.
I like it kind of ending at the fold right there.
And then putting that a bunch on the
So
inside.
we have thanks, a bunch. And I also like this little technique of doing the jute twine, and we have that whole set
of all those
twine.
different colors.
Yeah.
I love the colors of twine, and just tying it all the way around, ending it right on those stems. It's just that's just fun. So that's the different look. That first one is just striking. That dark one is just really, nice big impact, and then you've got this bright, cheerful one. It's just kind of a different look.
Very, very fun. Okay, we are down to the last one.
Okay.
And this is the large rose.
It's a stunner.
I love it. Look at this.
That's like one of those big prize-winning hybrid roses.
It is.
that we see all over here in Portland.
It is just beautiful. Just
Isn't that
gorgeous.
gorgeous?
Now you're going to show how to do that?
I need
You're
the
going to need this.
stencil again.
Okay.
Another one of those. So I have white cardstock, that beautiful large rose. Before I do this, I'm not going to do it this time. I would mask these off. You can mask them off with stencil tape, just the leaves, so that you have the rose only at first.
Okay.
Place that on your cardstock. I have 2 chalk inks. I have Berrylicious and Pink Pastel. And what you will do is go over the entire piece with the Pink Pastel. And I'm just going to use a sponge and get it on there. And I would just go around and do the whole thing with one color, and then you accent it with the other color.
Oh, so that gives the depth that I'm seeing in that.
So just add that all over. And I would do that over the entire piece. And then I come in with the Berrylicious and just a little bit. I don't want it to overpower. I'm going to sort of go off the side and see what it looks like. And there we go. Get some of it off. And I'm going to do it just in random areas. Just a little bit there.
It's kind of highlighting.
Right.
I guess, or giving shadow, one or the other.
Right. It is. And so you're getting that sort of it's almost a modeled look, in that you're getting it in different areas, and you do get those shadows, etc. And when you're done, you have that extremely large, beautiful rose on the card over there.
Well, let's lift it.
Lift
just
it.
lift it, just so you can see. So
it's
just
a
that
start.
little bit that she did, you can see how that's going to translate.
You can see
into
I
this
wasn't
beautiful
super
rose.
careful with that. I don't think you have to be on this look. It's beautiful. Then go back in with the leaves and do the same thing. You want to mask off the rose, to do the green.
With the different colors, going lighter into the center. And then that was cut out again, just right next to the stenciled area.
Right.
And placed onto, in this case, pattern paper, which I think is beautiful.
Isn't that beautiful?
So You Make Me Smile is again with the inside out greetings, I think.
Yes.
And then on the inside of the card,
beautiful.
Just off to the edge, just really, really pretty.
It is just beautiful. Just using parts of things. You don't have to use the entire focal. You can just have something coming in off of a corner.
As we saw with the daisy. Now for a very different look.
Oh my goodness.
Look at this beauty. Wow.
So with the Cosmic Shimmer red texture paste, we saw the gold earlier. The red is just this strikingly beautiful red rose.
Isn't that just stunning?
And the rose was done separate. So this was done on white cardstock, and then the rose was cut out without the leaves, and then the leaves were just inked on with probably a fluid chalk ink onto that dark green cardstock in the background.
Just absolutely stunning.
Yeah,
and even though this is now this card is 5 by 6.5, but even it being 5, you just lose a little bit of that rose, so it just works nicely. And on the inside, wow, using some of those leaves to create a corner effect, and using the dazzle, so just
beautiful.
Stunning. Yeah, so you really did see a lot of pairings that were totally different.
Right. Now, you were saying that they are underrated because they aren't talked about enough, but they are so versatile. There are so many different ways to use them.
You've got the daisies?
And I've got the daisies with white embossing paste on there, but there they all are.
Yes, just beautiful.
Highly
and
usable.
Very, very fun things you can do. And if you are a Zentangle one person, this large piece, you're going to have fun Zentangling in some of those areas. So
thank you for the idea.
Lots of stuff, lots of ways you can use them, and that's why I think they are so useful.
I agree.